next. Josh, the man with the plan behind the desk here, who's been operating this all this fancy technology that you see, is going to give us a primer on SharePoint. Some of your boards are up on SharePoint. I know generally our trades advisory councils, if anybody stuck around for the afternoon session here, are not as of yet. But by and large, most of the other boards are. So we've had a lot of questions come in. We did our board and council and committee member survey late last year. There were a lot of issues raised just with the transition to that technology, going to SharePoint board meetings. So Josh is going to kind of start from scratch and walk us through it.
Hi. All right, so some of you may be familiar with SharePoint, some of you may not. So let's get started here. What is SharePoint? Dictionary.com says there's no definition. So what we do know, though, is that SharePoint it helps manage documents in a secure way. What we can do with that then is we can share confidential information with the board members for possibly credentialing, or if there's discipline that needs to be taken against somebody, we can get that to you without just sending it necessarily through email, which, if there's an open records request, then means that we have to get that information out. In short, what that means is it's just an all-in-one document management tool that we can use. It's also used by nearly 80% of Fortune 500 companies. So it's in wide use everywhere, and it's actually getting much stronger use in other places as well. What will you get out of it? Well, first thing you're going to get out of it will be important documents through or references for your board or council. They just may be all the materials that you're seeing today. They could be information just specific for how a board chair should run business, or different things like that. You may find your application and credential information that Carol Ann was talking about. You can also find screening panel information on there as well. Not every board has that yet, but it's coming down the pipe. You also find all of your agenda packets there. So any information that you need to run your meeting should be available to you on your SharePoint site. You will also be able to find your per diem and travel information, so that way you can get paid for your business here. Now, logging in is going to be the toughest part of getting onto SharePoint, because there's two things needed to log in, other than the password that you normally need. A domain name, which is the computer that you're logging in from, essentially, and your username. Your username is going to be created by a Bureau assistant if you don't already have one. Your password you can set yourself. The domain name is always going to be the same, though. So what you'll normally see, for me, is accounts and that name, which is my login name. But that's not going to get a board member in there. You are going to need to type in WIEXT and then the backslash, which means that slash is going to fall backwards to whatever it is that's in front of it there. You might see Tom's computer or work laptop on there. You might see accounts like I have. If you do see that up in that first login window, you're not going to get in no matter what password you type in. So use the option there to use another account. Once you type in what it is that you're looking for, you'll see right down at the bottom there it says domain, W-I-E-X-T. You can click on remember my credentials, and it should keep you logged in for most of your session. Okay, make sure that slash goes from top left to bottom right. Once you're logged in, you're going to find your shared documents. This is where you're going to find all the PowerPoints that we have set up here for you today. Your reference materials, your board travel reimbursement materials. All that information is going to be on that first splash page. Now, if you want to get more specific board materials, you'll have to click on either of the links that are available there that will say your board name. This is just a test site, board member training, so that way I didn't offend anybody by going into nursing or med or anything else. So you'll see medical examining board, you'll see nursing, you'll see land surveyor section, you'll see all sorts of different things on there, but only specific to the work that you do. If you're on more than one board, for instance, the section members should have access to all the different, so the section or the main board. As you're in here, you'll have all your different libraries, but at first you'll see your board materials. This is where all of your agendas will be. Okay, they should be labeled as such. You'll have a folder with the month and the day of the meeting, so that way you know what agenda you can go right into. You also then have all your different libraries on the side. Now that's where you're going to find, again, the board materials that you had previously. Your legal services and compliance link is there as well. You may not have anything in here, again, if your board hasn't gotten to that point yet. But you will eventually at some point get there. Credentialing is the same way. Board member folders, on the other hand, you should always have one of those. That's where you can specifically keep all of your board information. Now, all of your agendas will be saved there. You'll have an editable version of your board agenda. That way you can make any changes to that. And those changes might look something like this. And then once you've made your changes, you can save that back up to the site so that way you have access to it during your board meetings. This is going to be gone over in a little bit more detail. I've got handouts that you can take on your way out. And all the bureau assistants will be able to help you with this as well. If you need help from it, I'm also very knowledgeable on it too. But essentially, what you can do with this is you can set up bookmarks on the where it says A. You can do different types of annotations and comments. D right here will allow for you to click on whatever comment you've made, so you don't have to go through a 300-page document to try to find that one comment that you made about one specific thing. You can just click on the comment, and it takes you right there. Once you have made all your comments, you can save those back up then to the site. So you have to save it first to your computer. But if you click on the documents portion here, you'll see this brand new window pop up, or a new menu system pop up, and you have an upload document option right there. Once you upload that, you only have access to upload, by the way, to your own folder. You can't upload to somebody else's folder, so that way we don't break any of the open meetings law. But once you upload that, you have access to that through any of the laptops that you might have during any of your meetings, so that way you can reference all of your notes. You don't have to print out 20, 80, 30 pages of whatever agenda that you wanted to make a comment on. It's all right there. It's just as good as using paper and pencil, in my opinion. And that's about it for SharePoint. Any questions? Yes?
I know I've asked you this question before, Jeff, but this is machine specific, right? So if you have more than one machine,
That's right.
you
So
have one for each one.
the question is, if you have multiple computers, you have to log in separately for each one, and the domain name has to always be WIEXT. You may find on your laptop it says Joe's laptop. At work, it may say Joe's work computer or whatever it is named. And then on your iPad, it may just say Joe's iPad, in which case you have to change it on each one. So you do have to log in separately for each one. Yes?
I'm a state employee, so I've got an account name like you do.
That's right.
But I access, or I would access SharePoint from my personal computer at home. Is that account / going to work?
Yeah, you would still use the accounts so long as you're set up through SharePoint for using your accounts. So if you haven't been given a WIEXT extension, or domain, then yeah, still use accounts. I can log in from my home computer. I can log in from my phone using accounts, yes. Jim, did you have a question? Oh, okay. So Joe.
The other question is that's come up before, and I don't recall ever getting a clear answer on. Since this stuff technically resides, once we download it on our machine, wherever I am, does that mean that my machine is discoverable?
No. So these are, the machine isn't discoverable in do you mean by open meeting or open requests?
Open records.
That's a great question, and I don't have an answer for you.
Yeah,
but I think Greg will write that down so we can get an answer for you.
We'll get back to
Yeah, because that was a concern that we had initially from day one. I don't recall that we ever went back and asked the question again to do it, because one of the concerns, then it's there, and can somebody knock on my door and get my machine?
Yeah, we'll talk to all the legal people here. Get a good answer for you. Go ahead, Jay.
We have a meeting coming up in April,
That's right.
so should we be on SharePoint for that?
Yeah, I believe you do have a SharePoint account, but if you haven't accessed it yet, you may not,
I have.
All right. In which case, your bureau assistants will be able to help you get you logged into that. Now, you've been given, I believe, I set up your account, so you've been given an email with the information in there. But if you lost it, I can go back through and I can find that information. logging in, again, is going to be your most difficult point. So once you get to that point, once we get you your information, if you have trouble, contact either your bureau assistant or myself.
I guarantee you I will.
I'm sorry?
I'm an old guy, I guarantee I will.
I don't know. We'll get you there, Jim.
We have access?
Are there any other questions about SharePoints? Looks like no. I think we're way ahead.